The colors of autumn are quite pretty, however they usually mean one thing. It's about to get cold and quite snowy, and that obviously has its own side effects. We've already got some new wheels and tires on the S4, and those are likely going to be what we run for that car this year. We also have winter wheels and tires for the TT, we just need to toss them on. But that leads me to a wild card, the E30. A car which is rear-wheel drive and already handicapped in comparison to the Audis. So with that in mind, what can we do to prep it?
And the story of winter prepping the E30 actually begins when the weather was 75 degrees outside and sunny. In other words, about a week and a half ago.
And this picks up right about where we left off, replacing those fan resistors in the car. At that same time, I was mentally creating a checklist of everything I needed to do and buy for this car before winter came, and the fans were a part of it.
So before we get too far, let's get one thing straight. Just up front, I have absolutely no plans of putting the E30 away for winter. I bought the car to drive. It's not going to be my primary car, so don't get that twisted or anything like that. I'm not going to rely on the E30. That would be silly. But I'm also not going to not drive it. I bought the car to drive, and I intend to drive it in winter.
If you drive in the snow regularly, this won't be news to you. But your ability to get around in the snow depends on a number of things. First things first, the car you drive matters a lot less than how you drive it. All-wheel drive will not save you from not knowing how to drive in the snow. So how you drive is the most important factor. Right beneath that, though, is a proper set of tires. And I'd had my eye out for some for a while now.
And then out of nowhere, something popped up on Facebook Marketplace. $200 for wheels and tires. Sure, they needed some love, both in the wheel and tire department, but $200 is $200, and he was open to negotiation. So I figured I might as well go take a look.
Taking a break from working on the Beamer, we're actually driving a little bit out of town, quick little mini road trip in the S4 to go buy parts for the Beamer. Well, not really parts, but accessories for the Beamer that will be very needed for the upcoming season. Now, the wheels and tires I'm going to look at are not going to be perfect. I mean, what can you really expect for $200 or best offer though? And for a price like that, all I can really hope for is that the wheels hold air and they don't look too bad. Since they're winter wheels, they don't need to be perfect to be functional. More than anything, they just need to hold air. And the guy I met with them was really cool. He had a number of E30s, had owned a couple M3s, and had these absolute grail wheels. Sadly, that's not what I'm getting though. The wheels I bought are the ones sitting outside over here. The ones that have been sitting outside for who knows how long. These are more my speed. And when I saw them, I saw potential. While they're not OEM wheels, they were designed specifically for the E30. Plus, for the price I got them for, definitely can't complain. And as I bought these in the evening, right after I installed the blower resistors, I had to sit on them for a bit. But that gave me a solid amount of time to research ways that we could make them better. Before we talk about how to make these wheels prettier, we need to talk about what these wheels are. These were sitting in the E30 the entirety of the last S4 episode, so let's take them out in the sun. This is an older wheel built for the E30, and while it definitely needs a lot of cosmetic work, I see a lot of potential in it. I'm pretty sure it's meant to look like wheels made by the Hartke Tuning Company, and they come with their own lug covers too. While these aren't nearly as aggressive as the wheels that are on the car, they're gonna fit the vibe of the car quite well. And these wheels also came with some winter tires on them. There's a catch with that though.
Now, some people might say that these tires were also good to go. I would tend to disagree. So while the tread is nice and they look practically new, they were made in 2011. So the rubber itself is the thing I'm concerned with. Not the tread, not anything else. That is pretty old for tires, and at that point the rubber's gonna start being compromised, so I figured I would be safe and just order some brand new snow tires.
And I actually ordered these tires the same time I ordered the all seasons for the S4. I'm sure the UPS man absolutely loved me. But you gotta do what you gotta do, and these are the snow tires I went with. Now don't laugh at the name too much, but these are Continental Viking Contact snow tires. If these are anything like the all seasons, I'm gonna love them. Now, as far as fixing the wheels up though, I was looking at a number of different DIY options. Plasti-Dip,
paint, I'm sure they all would look good. The issue though is I noticed one of these wheels had a fairly big flat spot on it, so I was gonna have to take that and get it repaired anyways. Plus I'm also gonna have to pay to get the tires swapped. So I talked to the people who fixed up the S4 wheels, and the quote I got was way cheaper than I thought it would be.
So if you take into account the parts I would have to buy to do them myself, as well as the time it would take to do them myself, this makes more sense, especially because they're going to mount the winter tires on there too.
So in other words, these crusty winter wheels are going to end up all pretty and shiny and new again after they come back.
I mean, I guess there's definitely worse things than having nice winter wheels. A couple days later, though, was the appointment. And this was a day that filled me with a tremendous sense of déjà vu. Loading wheels and tires early in the morning into a green sedan. Except this time it was different. In fact, it was the exact opposite combination. E30 wheels and tires in the S4.
It's not even Halloween yet, and it's snowing. I guess it's a good idea we got our snow tires ready. So my radio froze, I guess? That's fun. What the hell? Really? Really? It's not that cold. There's no way it's that cold.
The radio did fix itself when the car heated up, so don't worry there. In the wonderful weather, we arrived at the Wheelman. I pulled up in the S4 and began the long and fun process of unloading 4 wheels and 4 tires in the cold.
Snow tires and wheels for the E30 are dropped off. They're gonna powder coat them just like the S4 wheels. These ones should be done today because they're not already powder coated though. Sweet. Could not ask for more, and the price is unbeatable. It's ridiculous. On the other hand, however, I don't think we're gonna be putting these on today because it's currently snowing outside and I don't really want to do that. I'd rather wait a day or two for it to go away.
And just like we did for the S4, while the wheels are being powder coated, we can address some issues with the E30 that we've been putting off.
While the wheels and tires are the main thing that's going to affect this car in winter, there are a number of other things I want to do to make it better, and the first of which is finally replacing the wiper fluid reservoir. Now, you would not believe how expensive these are new, so this one is not new. I got this one from my friend who also has an E30, and while it's not the prettiest, functionality vastly outweighs looks when it comes to winter, and being able to wash my windshield is an absolute necessity. Plus, installation is as simple as pulling the old one out and slapping the new one in. There is not a single tool you need for this. Which brings me to one of my favorite pieces of this car's engineering, and it's quite literally just that. This car was designed with the end user's ownership in mind. There's an entire list of jobs and things on this car that you can do to it to fix and service it, which require absolutely not a single tool. Like the indicator lights, for example. You twist this knob and the entire row comes out. It takes 20 seconds and you don't need an explanation. Now, to some people, this might just be a random thing to point out, a product of a bygone era of design. But I'm an engineer and I think design like this is phenomenally cool. I took the car to the auto parts store, picked up some wiper fluid to test out our fix, and at the same time grabbed myself a scraper so I didn't have to steal it from the other cars every single morning. And so far, I think our reservoir replacement fix worked. We just have to wait and see if it leaks. While these wheels are getting powder coated, there's another part of them we need to figure out. The lug covers require a little screw in order to hold them in place. Well, they only came with one of them. So we need to figure out what this screw is and find hardware that's going to work to hold them in place. I figured out what I thought the thread pitch to be and bought a couple different options for hardware that could work. We won't know for sure until we try though. And it was right about at this point that I heard back about the wheels. Now this was still the same freezing cold, snowy day from earlier that morning. Somehow only 5 hours after we dropped the wheels off, they were ready. So I waited for a nicer day to put the wheels on. And a couple days later, we could finally see what they looked like in the sun. For how beat up they were, they turned out way better than I could have expected. And as far as the color I went with, we're keeping these classy.
With that, the wheels were all nice and pretty, and we were ready to toss them on in the blistering cold.
Right about now, you might be wondering why I went with the same color I did for the S4. And trust me, I was definitely considering a bunch of other colors. But since they're powder coated, silver is a classic. And we can always spray Plasti Dip on top of that without hurting the powder whatsoever. So I figured this was the best option overall. And I have a hunch that the silver is going to look fantastic with this green as well. On another note, I ended up finding 3 different nails in 2 different tires while removing these wheels. So I guess we gotta get new summer tires too. Fitment-wise, the wheels were absolutely fantastic, which makes sense since they're designed for this car. But this is right about where we ran into an issue. All the hardware we got was definitely the right thread pitch. However, it just wasn't long enough. On just one of the wheels, the part that this bolt threads into was cracked off. So since it was missing a number of threads, the hardware I got just barely wasn't long enough. There's more threads below it though, so I just need to get longer hardware. Sadly, this wasn't going to happen today though. The following day, I woke up bright and early and made yet another trip to the hardware store. And today's issue was the store was sold out of the right thread pitch in the right length with the right head. So sadly, these will not be flush.
We will definitely figure out a better looking solution long term, but for now, this is a little Mad Max way of getting it to work.
I showed up to the car with 2 goals. Install the lug covers with the new hardware, and then use some 3M tape to attach the logos back onto the wheels. And the first thing I noticed right when I got there was that the hardware I bought today was absolutely going to work. The longer hardware gripped every single wheel, and we were good to go. And like I said, the only real con with these is they're gonna stick out and won't be flush. But at this point, these are definitely gonna work well enough for us to put the rest of these on. And as far as the BMW emblem goes, right now I just have the ones that came with the wheels, and they're a little bit crusty. It's kind of funny having the crusty logo on really nice wheels, so I might switch it. But on the other hand, it kind of fits the look of the car overall. Some really nice bits with parts that clearly need love. It's always kind of fun predicting how excited you will be with the end product of a project. Sometimes you're underwhelmed by the result, and sometimes you're completely blown away. And I would say for these wheels specifically, I was worried I wasn't gonna like them nearly as much as the rotiforms. After all, I had always wanted a set of rotiforms, so they had this allure to them. I had high expectations, and they absolutely lived up to it. These wheels, however, were much more of a mystery. I had lower expectations for what they were gonna be. Not at all because they're bad or anything like that, but simply because I bought them as cheap winter wheels that I was hoping to just get me by for the season. When I first got these, they were never supposed to be as pretty as they turned out. But that's the fun thing about projects. Sometimes things completely surprise you. Projects spiral and the results end up blowing you away. And these wheels are a perfect example of that. They work for the car way better than I thought they would. I love these wheels so much more than I thought I would. The styling absolutely works with the car, and even though silver is a common color for wheels, it looks absolutely great here. I also absolutely love the look of Meteor tires on this car. I never liked how much stretch was on those summer wheels that came with the car, so we're definitely going to address that when we get some new tires for it in the future. But overall, my goal was accomplished. This car is that much more prepared for the upcoming season. How it's gonna do in the snow, I don't really know yet, but it's sure gonna be fun to find out. And now that we got all that preparation out of the way, we can start making plans for some bigger upgrades on the car. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more. That's the best way you can help support me and my content. Either way, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.